Hello guys, welcome back to another video. There's the Football Connect. I'm your son, and we just witnessed, I think, what we can call the final before the final in the Club World Cup. And I have no doubt in my assessment of the game, these are the two teams which I thought one of them would go to win the Club World Cup. And I think it's really clear that where PSG are at the moment is where Bayern Munich are. But if you look at them, there's no difference between the two teams. There was something amazing about these two teams, the way they pushed each other, the way they were challenging each other. It was just an amazing spectacle of a game to watch, and I really enjoyed what I watched. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What did you think of today's game, and what really was exciting? Like I said, like and subscribe. Let's talk about the game because it finished 42% to 49 of PSG of Bayern Munich dominating the game. But all in all, the most important numbers were 2-0 to PSG. Of course, there were two red cards which were shown. There was a horrible injury which Musiala suffered in the game. And of course, at some point, it felt like Anthony Taylor was favoring the other team before the other one. But to be honest, some of the decisions which were made were really correct. The first red card was correct. The second red card, you could say, but some people are gonna say that's red, but I would say it was a reddish card. I'll put it on the reddish card because I felt like this is something that you give a yellow card and a strong warning, not to go straight for a red card. I don't know. I don't know. I won't really comment when it comes to that. But let's talk about the game really, because I think one thing that was really exciting about today's game was how these two teams knew that they were never gonna control the game. These are two controllers of the team. They find joy in controlling the game, in movement of the game, and just in control of everything that happens. And today it was the first time I saw both of them in some points accepting that we cannot control the whole entire game. We have to leave some of the things and just surrender a bit so that we can see where we go with the game, because they knew that they were really seeing how the game was going on and how it was flowing, and they understood that it was never going to be that easy. And then, to be honest, it wasn't that easy. It showed in the game. It was a good game. I really enjoyed everything that was put on to the game, how the team were challenging each other, the passes, how at some point or in most of the points it felt like the midfield of PSG was being outclassed, overcome, and they just could not cope with the pressure that was coming against them. It was something that I've seen because every single time I've watched PSG, it always feels like they have control over the team that they're playing with, especially in their midfield. That's their biggest hub. They get joy in controlling that midfield. But somehow Bayern Munich were able to take that control away from PSG and made them suffocate. And how they were doing it going forward. At some point, you have to say the two goalkeepers were the men of the match. At some point, so many important saves which were put down by Donnarumma, and also so many saves which were also done by Manuel Noah on the other side, which just tells you the importance of how these two teams offers in the game and what you would expect to see from. Of course, we're going to talk about the Musiala injury. It was not a good look. It was so terrible, but at the same time, you cannot really give a goalkeeper a red card for that because he came for the ball, and it's just that he's the angle of the leg with the way Musiala was like and the way he felt. It just put so much pressure and weight. It looks terrible. I just feel like he's gonna be out. I just feel like he's gonna be out for such a long time. That was unnecessary. And what even hurt the most is this. This was his first start after 3 months. First start in about 3 months of not playing football. That's not fair. Now it looks like he could be out for even more than 3 months now because that looked so terrible. It reminded me, if you remember, of the Harvey Elliott injury that he suffered when we were playing. I'm not really sure which team we were playing with, but that was a similar injury that I saw from Harvey Elliott. He did come back, but it was not easy, to be honest. It was not at all easy. But that happened, and the game continued. Like I'm saying, there were a lot of openings, the way the challenges were going on, the way The teams were testing each other, putting each other under pressure, trying to see who will get the last laugh, who will enjoy the game, who will take advantages of the opportunities which were opening. And it was really clear that this game was one of those games we will talk about because it gave us all the excitement. Bayern Munich in attacking, Olise and Mendes, that battle was one to be remembered with. It had everything, the way the two players were challenging each other, the way they were pushing each other, the way they were trying by all means to unsettle each other so that the other one can have the best, maybe the best control of the game, to have advantage over the other one. It's so many times it felt like Mendes was running away from being in the juice with Olise, allowing Pacho being the guy who takes over the position so that he moves behind, so that it becomes maybe the midfield, because he felt like maybe he needed to cover that position. That tells you that he was pushed to do that. I've never seen him in that mannerism, the way he did it, the way he was dropping down. I've never seen it, to be honest. That tells you how difficult this game was when you're looking at it with all that it offered. On the other hand, you look at how Caravaskeria, how Due, how Bakola, they were trying by all means to take advantage of the spaces which were being opened up going forward. At some point, I felt like the defense of Bayern Munich were letting down the goalkeeper. Sometimes, first, especially if you look at, there was a chance which the goalkeeper had to come out and they pull out an amazing goal out from the goal. They just allow the player to be alone in the middle of the pitch to go forward and go challenge the goalkeeper. It happens so many times. You can allow that to happen first time, second time, but if you continue doing that, you will be tested. You will suffocate. And that's at the end of the day what ended up happening. And that tells you everything you need to understand about how the game was offering going forward. Then, of course, the goal came. But the way Due was able to position his body, and the way he was able to confuse the goalkeeper, especially from that distance, from that far, it is just out of this world. Then, of course, Dembele, coming from an injury, comes in the game, gets an opportunity, scores it perfectly. That's what we call, when we talk about perfect goals. That's what we saw from Dembele, and it just ended the game. It just put the end in the game, which had it all. It had the excitement, the fun, everything we were looking for. We got it in this game, and I think as we live in this game, as we move on, everyone will be excited with all that they saw in the game and what actually excited them. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Watching this game, who was your man of the match? What did you enjoy watching from that game? And what do you think is going to happen with the two red cards that PSG suffered going into the second game? What will happen with them? Those are all the questions that I'm wondering, and I want to hear your answers and your thoughts in the comment section. Click the like button, subscribe to the Football Connect. We'll be back with another reaction of the Real Madrid versus Dortmund game. Yes, people, we are back to analyze. We were not doing this because of the Jota situation in which we are still recovering from, but we are here. Let's hear your thoughts in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to Connect. We are out. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect.